What is up, all you tried hard gamers? How you guys all doing? So I wanted to do a video on, so far, my favorite ship in Elite Dangerous and the build that I'm using, and I wanted to give you a demonstration of how freaking awesome it is. So right now I have a wing mission that I am currently soloing, and I wanted to go through my build, and also I wanted to show you how amazing it is in battle. So here's the deal. Wing missions, for those of you who don't know, are missions that are harder and are suggested that you finish with another person. The current build that I'm using, and the fact that my ship is decently engineered, I'm able to complete these missions basically by myself, and I wanted to give you an idea. So this is my mission target right now, which is a threat 4, which I believe is the highest threat that you can get. And as soon as I get into this thing, you're going to see I'm going to be swarmed by probably 10 ships. And I want you to pay attention to how long I last, as well as how quickly I knock these ships out. I love this build on this ship. I told you guys the other day I sold my Anaconda for it. And it just seems that I don't know how else to explain it. The build that I'm using right now, I'm overly satisfied with. And it is really, really satisfying to take down targets with the current weapons that I'm using. What I'm going to do is I'll just tell you straight out what I'm using. I'm using what is it, 3 or 4? Let's look at this. 3 multi-cannons and 2 seeker missiles. Sounds like it's not a lot of firepower, right? Because when you get with the Anaconda, it's got like a shitload more hard points, so you've got more things that you can use. And typically what people do is they go half beams, half ballistics. But I've engineered my weapons, the seeker missiles for example, to do mostly thermal damage, so that they do more damage to shields and they do a lot of damage to the hull. And I've got 2 of my multi-cannons, the smaller ones, that do thermal damage, which does damage to shields. But my huge hard point, which is a grade 4, is a multi-cannon with corrosive damage that increases the damage overall on whatever it hits, including the hull. So we're going to get in here really soon, and I'll show you guys how it works, and then we'll run through the build at the outfitting screen. So here we go. Wish me luck. All these ships are going to be hostile, so alright, if I can get into prime spot here to you can see their shields are already offline, and I've not even really hit them that much. So we're going to fire some missiles. Look at that hull going down. Look how quickly their hull's going down from that. Look at that. And it's already down. Now, I'm taking some pretty heavy hits, but luckily the police are gonna jump in here, and I'll get some targets down before they kill the rest of them. Shields are already offline, look at that. And he's done. Move on to next target. Come on. Let's get a lock on him. Yep, frame shift charge, but he ain't going to be able to get out quick enough. Let's move on to the next target. Put some power into engines. This guy shouldn't be too hard. Just sitting in one place. Don't think so. Alright, look at that. Look at that. Okay, so it's true my shields are almost gone, but if I hadn't made this as shield tanky as possible, I would have gotten blown up immediately when I went into that. So what, we had about 15, 20, 30 seconds of what, 10, 15 ships firing on me all at once before the police got here, and I was able to knock out, what, 4 of them? Something like that with this Mamba? It's amazing. This build I absolutely love. And we are going to go to the outfitting screen right now so that you guys can see what I'm working with. I'm going to take you through it so that maybe if you guys want to try this out, you can do that on your own. Okay, so let's talk about this build for a second. We're at a space station here. My build is all kinetic. Well, not necessarily all kinetic. It's all kinetic weapons. And before we go into the outfitting screen, I want to show you something. We talked about this last time in my last video. A must for this, in my opinion, is that you have the resources on hand to be able to synthesize ammo on the spot, okay? Trust me, it's worth it. For those of you who don't know, if you didn't see my last video, you know, I use seeker missiles as well as multi-cannons. Now, what you're going to need to synthesize in order to restock your ammo are explosive munitions. What you do is you go to resupply explosives. You just hit space, and then you do those for each of your modules. And then for your small caliber munitions, which is for the multi-cannons, you go to resupply small caliber and then do the same for each one of the modules. Now, you can use the standard or premium if you have the resources. I'm not too much worried about that. Maybe on down the road I'll stock up for that. But as you can see, I have a healthy stock of iron, nickel, and sulfur. So I can basically do it on the spot as much as I want. So let's actually go into the outfitting screen, and we'll take a look at the modules that I have, what they're engineered to, and what you're going to need in order to outfit your ship with this sort of build. Maybe you want to try it, maybe you don't. Elite Dangerous is one of those games where it's not necessarily the best ship, it's the best ship for you. And if you want to be able to do, you know, threat for mission objectives, there's other ships that can certainly do that. The Anaconda being one of them. I could destroy all of those ships pretty much with my Anaconda, but I don't like flying the Anaconda. So let's go to hard points. I've got 4A multi-cannon in the 4A slot, which is your huge cannon. And as you can see, modifications. I've got overcharged up to grade 4, and then I have corrosive shell. Okay. Now, Some people say that that's a big no-no, and the reason why, and I'm talking about the corrosive shell on the large gun port, the 4 grade. The reason why is that when you get the corrosive shell modification, and it tells you experimental rounds that temporarily weaken hull hardness and increase all damage taken at the cost of reduced ammo capacity, is because it reduces more ammo capacity in virtue of the fact that it's on a 4A slot, that it's a bigger cannon, so you lose more ammo. I don't have to worry about that too much, specifically because I have the resources to be able to synthesize ammo on the spot, so I'm not worried about it. Then I have 2 Seeker missile racks. Modifications are overload munitions and high-capacity magazines. Now, the high-capacity magazines allow for more ammo, and the overload munitions, experimental munitions that convert a portion of explosive damage to thermal. So these sort of act like beams. Except, in my opinion, from what I've seen, when these things hit shields, they rip them to shreds. So as opposed to having to keep your aim on with the beam and them slowly going down, when these things hit, they knock them out. And you saw that in the demonstration that I showed you before when we were doing that Threat 4 mission. And I have 2 of those with the same modifications. And then these 2 multi-cannons down here, which are the 1Gs, I've got incendiary rounds with overcharged weapon. So those are my hardpoint builds. On to other areas, my utility mounts, I have a shit ton of shield boosters. And believe me when I tell you, this is an absolute must. An absolute must. Now, I don't have them all fully modified. I think I've got this one up to 4. And that's the only one that I have past. No, I have that one to 2. That one to 2. That one to 1. And that one to 2. So they're not insanely engineered, but they are decently engineered. And they've got all the heavy-duty modification on them. So that allows my ship to be more tanky. It's why I was able to stay in that fight. If I didn't have these shield boosters, and if they didn't have the heavy-duty modification on them, I would have gotten ripped to shreds in that place. But these shield boosters, in tandem with the fact that this Mamba is extremely maneuverable, allows me to not only tank, but move quick out of the line of sight of the enemy, to not take as many damage. Not as many, but as much damage. As far as my core internals, I've got reactive surface composite. This was really expensive. It was like 131 million. It's pretty necessary in my opinion. You can fly the ship without it. But if your shields end up going down, it's kind of like this. If you're fighting a ship or a group of ships that can take your shields down really quickly, 9 times out of 10 they're going to shred your hull and your ship's going to explode. That's just the way that it is. So I wanted to be doubly sure that on both sides of my ship, both the shields and the hull, I was able to tank as much as possible. I've got a 6A power plant, 5A thrusters, 4A frameshift drive, 4A life support, and 6A power distributor. Pretty self-explanatory. And then the optionals, this is probably where some of you are going to be like, you're nuts. But there's reasoning behind it. I only have 1 shield cell bank. And for those of you who don't know, shield cell banks, what they allow you to do is when you get a ring of your shield down by enemy fire, it allows you to recuperate one of those rings slowly. And some people stack them immensely on their ships. Now, there's a reason why I don't do that on the Mamba. The one downside to the Mamba is that it has heat issues. But I've sort of engineered it in a way that I don't really have to worry too much about heat issues, and I don't want to overdo it with too many shield cell banks. So what I opted to do was just take one. I put a fuel scoop in the 4 category, and then in the 2, I put a planetary landing vehicle hangar and a detailed surface scanner. Seems like an odd build, right? Well, one of the reasons why I did that is because I want to be able to fly to planets to reload my resources so that I can be out in the field longer with my full kinetic weapons build by synthesizing the ammo, right? If I get low, let's say I have no resources and I go out in like a long combat campaign, I'm pretty much screwed in the middle of a fight because I'm going to run out of ammo and I'm not going to be able to synthesize more ammo. So what I wanted to do was outfit this so I won't have to go back to another station and switch ships and then fly out to another planet to get other resources so that I can synthesize my ammo. So this allows me to do that. So I believe that's pretty much it. Let me know down in the comments if you guys try out this build. I hope this was of help. If you guys liked the video, please subscribe. Please hit that notification bell, and I will catch you on the next video.